This is the Boxing Talk and Old Time Boxing Show on UStream. Presented by GAR1680. Here is your host, Paco Rivera.
Welcome to the Boxing Talk and Old Time Boxing Show on UStream. This show is brought to you by GAR1680. The phone lines will be open during the show, so call in anytime to offer your comments or opinions. The number is 605-215-1680. Firstly, I want to apologize to anyone that saw this show last week and took my advice about watching the Vitali Klitschko versus Dereck Chisora heavyweight fight for free on the stupid movie streaming site called EPIX. EPIX turned out to be a bust. Was anybody able to log on? I wasn't able to. I wasn't even able to find a log-in screen on that site that day. I had Twitter up and noticed a lot of others complaining about the same thing. Anyway, someone posted another site that was streaming the event, and I was able to see it there. I have to admit that Chisora put up a good fight against Klitschko, and I was surprised that he managed to take the much bigger fighter and champion the distance. Chisora, who I had never seen fight before, reminded me a little of Joe Frazier with that style, hunched over a little and always moving forward while quickly bobbing side to side and throwing a lot of punches. It was obvious, however, that Klitschko was just too big and too tall for him. There were times I saw Chisora practically lunging up into the air, trying to land a punch to Klitschko's head. While I was somewhat impressed with Chisora as a fighter, I was totally disgusted by his antics as a person. And to be honest, if I never see him again in the ring, would be fine with me. If you ask me, the heavyweight from England is an embarrassment to his country. Did you see when Chisora spit into Klitschko's face just before the fight? It looked mostly like water spraying out of his mouth, but it was still bad. And before that, Chisora had slapped Vitali during the weigh-in. After the fight, during the press conference, Chisora attacked another heavyweight fighter, David Haye, in what looked like some kind of barroom brawl. If you ask me, I think Dereck Chisora's behavior outside the ring, and that includes his spitting into Klitschko's face in the corner, was horrible, and he was definitely a black eye for boxing. Vitali Klitschko, on the other hand, I thought was a total class act. He didn't retaliate until after that first bell sounded. I watched his interview after the fight, and I got the impression of him being this really nice guy. He was like a humble, gentle giant standing there talking into the mic. The way he spoke, if he was running for a political office, you'd want to vote for him. If I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that he was in fact getting into politics in his country, Ukraine. Anyway, he was so nice and so pleasant that you wonder how he can be so dominating in the ring. He refused to speak badly of anyone, not even Chisora, simply saying something to the effect of how that's the way some people are outside the ring. I especially loved the way he ended the interview with words for Muhammad Ali, giving praise, a lot of praise, and love to who Klitschko says is one of the greatest men to ever live.
This is the Boxing Talk Show on GAR1680.
Unfortunately, England is not the only country with boxing problems like Chisora. We have our own here in the United States, too. Did you see the Chris Arreola interview following his first-round knockout victory over Eric Molina? Some of the things he said was absolutely horrible, especially what he said about Don King. You know, for about the past 35 years or so, I have known the name Don King, and I can honestly say that I never met anyone who has said, I like Don King. He's like one of those people that everyone loves to hate, it seems. I can say this, even though people have always loved to hear what Don King has to say and even want to see him, if he starred in a movie, he would probably do great. He has, in fact, appeared in a number of movies as himself. Yet it seems that no one thinks of him too kindly. Regardless, what Arreola said while cursing with the F word and accusing King of being a racist was definitely uncalled for. As you'll hear the interviewer say. I'm going to play that part of the interview for you now. Please be advised that the following audio contains vulgar language. If you have any kids listening, you may want to cover their ears.
We look forward to it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, big shout out to everybody in Riverside. And as a kid, I always wanted to meet Don King, but now I think Don King's a fucking asshole and he's a racist.
No. We're not going down that road.
He's racist.
All right, Barry. It was all going well until then. Let's apologize to the audience. We can't control these guys. That's totally uncalled for.
Phone lines are open. Call with your comment or opinion. The number is 605-215-1680. We are also on Twitter, and you can follow us there at GAR1680, or you can share your thoughts on the chat panel right here on this UStream site. Talking about black eyes for boxing, how about the Tavoris Cloud versus Gabriel Campillo decision? Now, I know Campillo got off to a bad start, getting knocked down twice in the first round. Actually, the first was a legitimate knockdown. The second, the ref scored it a knockdown even though Campillo didn't go down. His body was slumped into the ropes. It seems the referee felt that the only thing holding him up were those ropes, so it was scored a knockdown. I'm going to stop for a second here and talk about that. I think a lot of referees might not have broken up the fighters in that case for what looked like a standing 8 count, which means, and this is giving Tavoris Cloud some benefit of the doubt here, this means that Cloud may have easily pummeled Campillo into a knockout at that point, but that didn't happen. Instead, the round ended and the fight went on. As it turns out, Campillo not only recovered incredibly, he put on a spectacular performance for every round after that. Now, here's where I think Campillo may have made a mistake. When the 12th round started, he may have felt that he was way ahead on the scorecards. He may have been confident that he has won the fight. So he kind of laid back in the 12th. That is always a mistake. Remember when Oscar De La Hoya fought Felix Trinidad? De La Hoya danced around avoiding Trinidad the last few rounds, thinking he had it clinched. Trinidad ended up getting the decision on points. For one, you can never trust judges. You don't know how they're going to score the fight unless there is open scoring, something I despise and that I spoke about last week. Secondly, and I also spoke about this during a show earlier this year, to defeat a champion, you must knock him out or win overwhelmingly. Cloud came into the fight defending a belt, so those 2 points I mentioned are in effect. So Tavoris Cloud got a 10-7 score in the first round and probably was better in the 12th, outworking Campillo in that final round as the challenger had settled back a little. Now you have to deal with all the rounds in between. While I think Campillo won all of them, some may have been close enough to go the other way in the eyes of the judges. Was it bad, horrible judging? Yeah, I think so. But until boxing develops a better way to score fights or creates a commission that authorizes legitimate and better qualified judges, that's what we're stuck with. In the Showtime main event Saturday night, Paul Williams appeared very impressive in his win against Nobuhiro Ishida, which I think is what most really expected, much like the Klitschko-Chisora fight early in the day. It was a good fight. Not a great fight, but good. Williams pretty much dominated the fight and won, I think, every round. Ishida did have his moments. I'm not sure how Ishida got into the position of a Showtime main event. In his previous fight, he had knocked out his opponent in the first round. But get this, that opponent had a record of 0 wins and 0 losses. In other words, the guy was making his debut as a professional boxer. In the fight before, Ishida had knocked out James Kirkland in the first round. That, to me, was some sort of bizarre situation. That wasn't Kirkland in the first round of that bout. It was an imposter or his long-lost twin brother or somebody else. Seriously, I think Ishida caught Kirkland with a lucky, solid punch that was not expected. I, for one, would love to see a rematch of that bout just to be able to put away any doubts. I do have to wonder, however, about the quality of Kirkland's chin. It makes me wonder if he could stay near the top of his division at 154 pounds, where others like Miguel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, and Erislandy Lara could easily cause some damage if his chin is weak. Kirkland, by the way, fights Carlos Molina next month on March 24th. Maybe a rematch with Ishida will follow.
This is the Boxing Talk and Old Time Boxing Show on UStream. Presented by GAR1680.
In the ESPN Friday Night Fights 10-round main event taking place in Delaware this Friday, the WBC Silver Super Featherweight champion Juan Carlos Burgos, who is 28-1 with 19 knockouts of Tijuana, Mexico, will make his first defense of the title against former IBF Featherweight World Champion Cristobal Cruz, who has 39 wins, 12 losses, and 3 draws. Cruz is also from Tijuana. Even though it's a quote-unquote title fight, it's scheduled for 10 rounds, not 12. It does look pretty good on paper right now. On Saturday on HBO, Devon Alexander will face the Argentinian Marcos Maidana in a scheduled 10-round welterweight bout. It will be held in Alexander's hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. Both Alexander and Maidana have agreed to being tested before and after the bout for illegal drugs and steroids. Maidana's most recent loss was a unanimous decision defeat to Amir Khan in 2010. Alexander last lost to Timothy Bradley 1 year ago. Bradley, remember, will be fighting Manny Pacquiao in June. Alexander's last 2 fights in his hometown ended with controversial decision wins, and many wondered if there were some home-cooked scorecards. But Maidana isn't worried, since very few of his 33 bouts have gone the distance. Maidana is more of the puncher, wanting to go toe-to-toe, while Alexander is better known for his skilled boxer style. Regardless, many seem to think it will be an interesting matchup, and I'm also looking forward to it.
You are listening to Golden Age Radio on 1680 AM in Concord, North Carolina. Please visit us on the web at gar1680.webs.com.
This week I wanted to do a segment about boxing podcasts, which are audio recorded radio shows that you can listen to on the internet or download to your MP3 player, iPod, cell phone, or other devices. I download several shows a week to my MP3 player, which I then connect to the car radio and listen to during my commutes to work and back home. I also wanted to discuss boxing talk shows like this one that you can find at places like UStream or YouTube. There are many of them out there, and I was going to follow all that with a discussion about how you can help the sport of boxing by supporting these shows. These shows are made by people that have a love and passion for one of the greatest sports in history, and they help spread information to others, getting others interested in what's going on with boxing. There is no competition amongst us doing this. The more the better to share their information, opinions, and questions. Like I said, we want to share with others the passion we have for the sport, and doing so generates interest in the sport of boxing, creating more fans and making more people want to watch more. But just like fighters that step into the ring, we would also like to be compensated for that effort if possible. One way is for you to watch the boxing talk shows you enjoy the most on YouTube, the shows you mostly enjoy, whether it's this one or someone else's. And don't skip that opening commercial that plays just before the video starts. I know nobody likes commercials unless it's playing during the Super Bowl maybe, and who the heck wants to watch them? Most would rather hurry to the video show they want to see. Okay, but the commercial is only about 2 minutes long. Usually you don't have to buy what it's selling. You don't even have to watch it. Go run and get a drink from the refrigerator or use the bathroom or whatever while it's playing. Just help out the show by letting it play, which ends up helping the sport. Also, if an ad slides up on the bottom of the window, the video screen, go ahead and click on it. A separate window will pop up. Let it open. Don't even look at it if you don't want to, and then close it. Doing so helps the person that took the time and effort to create the show. And it doesn't cost you anything unless you end up buying the product that's being offered in the ad. Anyway, I wanted to discuss some of my favorite boxing podcasts and all the rest, including more ways that you can help the sport and shows like this. But I'll need some more time to prepare for that. I'll definitely be talking about it during the show next week. During the next show, which will be in 2 weeks from now. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, there won't be an old-time boxing event today. Once again, we should have a good one for you next time around. I will be taking next Wednesday off. This show will return the week after. I am Paco Rivera. See you next time.